Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is July the 7th, Tuesday, July the 7th, 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. Hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders who are every day doing their best to save lives, even at the risk of their own lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage to keep our streets and cities and towns clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the unfortunate victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those helping the people that are unfortunate victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and those perverts that create the great demands that cause these industries to even exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless, more than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So yesterday, the New York Knicks made official the re-signing of Jose Alvarado, Landry Shamet, and of course, Mo Diawara. They made official the signing of Andre Drummond. So now the New York Knicks officially have 12 players on their roster under contract. I'm pretty much 90% sure the 13th guy is going to be Jordan Clarkson. So we don't have to worry about that. And some of you are still asking about Trey Jemison, and it appeared to me that Ian Begley said Trey Jemison has agreed to a two-way contract. I don't know about anyone else officially, but I think Begley said they want to bring McCullough back also, probably on a two-way as well, which means they will have one or two, depending if they bring McCullough back, two-way spots available. They still have to fill, after Jordan Clarkson, one more space. So that means the Don is still busy. The Don doesn't waste a dime or a space. So I've been reading a lot about Jonas Valanciunas, who I call Jonas V. Coming up, we were talking about Moussa Diabate. Now, Moussa Diabate fits salary-wise. We also reiterated how the Charlotte Hornets have 5 different players that can play the 5, including their most recent draft pick, who they picked, 20 years old Steinbach, who plays the 5. So that looked like a crowded situation at the 5. Which portends to lead to a possibility of being able to pry Diabate away from Charlotte. And someone asked me a question which kind of is indicative of the thought process that I don't like. Somebody asked me, who would I prefer to the Knicks to send to Charlotte? That's the wrong question. That's the problem. Why is that a problem? The real question is, who would Charlotte prefer from the Knicks versus who would I prefer? That doesn't matter. And a lot of y'all take this so personal. You think that when you say we, you think the Knicks are listening to you. They're not. They're not listening to me either. What I am doing and what I've been doing is illustrating to you based on the high-level management of the Knicks what I feel they're going to do, which I've been right a lot of the times. So it's not what I decide. I'm just reading the tea leaves. And some of y'all acting like you are the tea leaves. You're not the tea leaves. So get that straight. The Knicks are going to make decisions with or without me or you. Okay? And so you must ask the right questions. Like somebody asked about Khalil Ware. Imagine they said Khalil Ware. That's the problem. Y'all keep imagining and not being real. Khalil Ware makes $4.6 million. He was just traded from Miami, a high draft pick, first rounder, for Giannis. The realism is you can't just say, let's go get Khalil Ware. That's the delusional Knicks fan that people from other cities blame us for. Khalil Ware is not available, and Bucks ain't going to make him available. Then somebody said, what about Miles Turner? Miles Turner makes over $20 million a year. We just let Mitch Rob walk because he wanted 16. And we don't have the room. The Knicks are trying to get under the second apron, and you're suggesting Miles Turner? Are you serious? That's what I mean when I say delusional, okay? And then people are reaching and calling names out of the back of their behind, I don't know where, for whatever reason, and it really doesn't matter. The guys that I think the Knicks were going to go after, I stated plainly, Messi, Diabate, Bona. And I stated it because of the teams they're on, the salary structure, and what the Knicks were trying to accomplish, and what they would bring to the table as a backup five. I still think that. But Messi obviously is off the table because New Orleans has made it plain they're not interested in trading him. He's becoming a big part of what they want. Diabate may not be available because although they have five guys, in my view, he's the best of the five, him and Nas Reed. The best guys they got at the five. And they got him 2 years locked up around a minimum contract. So why would they trade that? It's like y'all asking for Deuce McBride to be traded or suggesting he be traded. And trying to make, they can't sign him. Why can't they sign him? Because you say? You cannot get the value. Understand, you cannot get the value for $4 million of what Deuce McBride brings to the table for anybody at that price. You cannot. And he's worth twice that on the open market. And he will get it, okay? But now is not the time to be talking about trading Deuce, especially if you want to remain anything viable on my channel, you will be disappeared. And you should know this. I keep saying it, but some of y'all knuckleheads, numbnuts keep coming up with it anyway. Why? You just like me to delete you? Anyway. Or you just don't listen. Maybe that's the problem, I guess. So now there's one more guy the Knicks need to get. And there are several ways of getting that player. I don't want to hear all your suggestions about who it would be. I really don't care. But Ian Begley kept mentioning Jonas Valanciunas, so we got to consider him because Beggs mentioned it. Okay? So we got to consider that. Also, we got to consider that there's a whole bunch of undrafted free agents coming into the summer league this next Friday. Okay? And so between our own group of undrafted free agents and all the other teams participating in the 4-game summer league, they might find somebody there. They could find somebody that Walt Perrin found overseas that's a little grown. James Najee, I don't think he's playing this summer. I think he's going to go back to college and he could still play even if he is in college, but I think he's not ready yet. So he's not going to be here. So they're going to find player number 14. He's probably going to be a 5. And some of you asking about Sohan. I don't know. I would like Sohan back, but it ain't up to me. But they're probably going to get somebody that they could at least play the 5. Okay? And some of you talked about Diawara playing the 5. I was like, Diawara is a 4 who can guard 1 through 5, and he will. But don't think he's a 5. He's not. Okay? We just want him to find his footing in the NBA right now. And I think he will. But I feel like the Knicks, if not Jonas V, it's going to be somebody along those lines that can come in. And if you get a Jonas Valanciunas, for example, that would help a lot because you would not need Drummond and Jonas to play more than 10 minutes a game each. And they could fill in for Cat, who would only play less than 30 at the 5. That would be tremendous. You could also do a Twin Towers situation with either one of them with Cat for a couple minutes if you needed to. So it opens up a lot of options to have a guy like that. It's not the guys I named, but it does work. And this is the thing. People like to be negative and bring the negativity about what's wrong with who the Knicks choose instead of understanding the positivity about who the Knicks choose. And some people think that that sounds smart. To me, it just sounds like you got no life and you need to be negative. But the positivity of that would be you save minutes on each guy because both of them will be carrying a load, but not a big load, and you save minutes on Cat, which is the most important. Okay? That's the most important part. Then, of course, you still got OG who could spell you at the 5 under small ball lineups, and he's done it in the past, and he'll probably do it again this year. So you're going to have that. Then there's all of these people that's saying the Knicks are going to win the championship easy. When you use the word easy, it bothers me. There's nothing easy in the league. The Knicks just won the championship going 4-2, 4-0, 4-0, 4-1. And it wasn't easy. On paper, it looks like they blew the whole league out. And they probably did, but it wasn't easy. Nothing in the league is easy. A lot of Knicks fans want you to just write the chip and just give it to them before playing the season. You got an 82-game season. There's going to be a couple of times they're going to lose 2 or 3 games in a row. A lot of you are going to jump off board and be demanding firings and trades and all that. And I'm going to ignore you. I'm telling you now, because that's part of the long season. Okay? So it's going to be a long, hard road. Yes, I favor the Knicks to repeat, especially now when we're almost at the end of getting our roster together and it looks like a complete run back, except for Mitch Rob, which we already understand what that's about. So they really are in a good position to repeat. Probably, I would say the best position since Oklahoma City. Like, Oklahoma City won the chip with a bunch of dudes that wasn't even in their prime yet in SGA, and it looks like they were going to be able to continue it. They had a good chance of repeating last year, but their Achilles heel is San Antonio. San Antonio matched up well against OKC, and then Jalen Williams got hurt and Mitchell got hurt, and that was the weakness that San Antonio exploited to beat them in 7 games. So that was the best shot for about the last 7 years of repeating until now. Now the Knicks got a shot. Key again is they got the same team back. They got the continuity, okay, especially in the core. But injuries, we have to really be careful of injuries. One of the issues with that is making sure you got guys like 2 centers that can share the backup load, that could give Cat a break and make sure he's fresh, because the ball still needs to go through Cat and there's still no answer for him. Okay, somebody said, well, they don't have an answer for Cat or OG or, no, it's not that. It's the unit. Cat, as the head, offensive head of the unit, is unstoppable at this point. There's no force out there that could stop him. What the Knicks did against San Antonio in the Defensive Player of the Year, Cat went to JB, and JB victimized Victor, period. Victimized him. And they could do that again. Okay? Now, San Antonio just got better by employing now Tobias Harris. Detroit just took a step back and they started unit with John Collins. But Detroit still has Cade, which you don't discount. They still got Asar, they still got Duran, which I think they're going to re-sign, and they better. And they still got that dynamic bench. Again, Philly's going to be tough. Detroit's going to be tough. The Knicks are going to be tough. Boston, I'm still not sold on, because PG-13 could fit better with Tatum than Brown, because PG-13's at the stage of his career where he's not going to demand a whole bunch of touches. And again, this brings me to DeMar DeRozan. Some of y'all upset because I called him a loser. Let me explain this for some of you that want to argue. I'm not arguing with you. Somebody kept coming at me with some philosophical BS about who a loser is. I don't care. Look, DeRozan is like Carmelo, and I'll give you an example. Carmelo has always been, when he was in the league, first and foremost about his bag. The one time he had a chance to form a championship team with LeBron in his prime, Carmelo in his prime, and Wade in his prime, they had to go down to $14 million each to make that work. Carmelo wouldn't do it. He decided to take his bag, go to New York, and be the man. That's a whole different thing. See, that was what was prevalent at that time. Who's the man? Whose team is it? And that's what caused people to not get chips. Melo wanted his money, and he wanted to be the man. Let's look at Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson took less money. He's still rich as hell, though. Look, he still got 2 contracts over $100 million, though he left $100 million on the table. But I think we can agree he's going to make all that back and then some. But why did he leave the $100 million on the table? To get OG, Cat, and McCaw. That's why. And what did that result in? Chips. Why? Because JB was balancing getting rich, which he was going to do anyway, with winning a chip. DeMar DeRozan is like Melo. He's always about his money. Always been. Now he's 37 years old, and they just waived him, and they're gonna stretch his $10 million. He gonna get his $10 million or something buyout of it, but he gonna get a minimum somewhere, and he's still worried about his money. So he ain't winning no chip. It's about the money. When you got a guy with that type of flavor, you don't want to mess up what you just cobbled together in New York, which is a chip to add a guy like DeRozan. A lot of teenage knuckleheads on NBA 2K will not understand that for another 10 years. But I do, which is why I don't want him. He don't fit with what the Knicks are trying to do. He's not in the championship mentality. Never has been. He's always been about getting his money. And he got it. You know, DeMar DeRozan has earned over $300 million in the NBA. So you take half of that off of taxes, that's still $150 million. So he got his money. But he sacrificed a chip to get it. Okay? He was going to get his money, and he got... So now, look at it this year. He was owed $27 million. The problem was, and bad management in Sacramento put themselves in the position to go over second apron, and they ain't even sniffing playoffs right now. That's the worst position to be in. It's bad to go over the second apron, but you want to go over the second apron like Golden State did when you win the chip, like Denver when you win the chip, or New York, who chose not to go over the second apron and still won the chip. If you ain't winning nothing, what you going over the second apron for? So they had to move on from him and take that last $10 million, which is guaranteed, ice that other $17 million off, and then get under the second apron. They trying to rebuild over there. I don't know how they doing it, but financially, you don't want to be with that. So DeRozan trying to still get money. People saying he's going to go back to Toronto. To me, he go to Toronto, they're not winning nothing. That's all I'm saying. So look at JB again. High school, chip. College, 2 chips. NBA, chip. Every place he's gone, chip. Y'all want that or you want DeRozan? No chips, a lot of money. Come on now. That's why I say he a loser. He a loser in terms of chips. He a winner in terms of, hey, listen, $300 million is a lot of money. You done won in the game of life. But you losing in the league. You're not getting no chip. That's just how it is. Anyway, we need one more guy. And it ain't DeRozan. We need one more guy. And it's going to probably be a big, power forward center type dude. And somebody said the truth. He said, if we get Diabate, it's a wrap. That's why we ain't going to get him. I'd like for them. He fits. The money fits. What they would want is Kolek. That fits. But the league ain't going to let that happen, man. Bad enough we won the chip last year. We would be rolling. You get a Diabate. It'd be a wrap. It'd be a wrap. So we're probably not getting him. We're probably going to get a Jonas V or some other dude that might be a journeyman serviceable, as some of y'all like to say. But it'd be cool because at least they could split time. Somebody that could split time with Drummond behind Cat. That's the key thing here. Somebody that could split time at the 5. Now, Sohan is a 4. Can he guard 5s? He can, but he's a small guy to be guarding 5s on a regular basis. Drummond is 6'11". Okay? So he could guard 5s. Jonas, 7 foot something. Jonas always been top of it. He's not like Mitch Rob, the top, but he's in top 5 in offensive rebounding every year. Jonas Valanciunas. So he could split time with Andre Drummond, and we could roll with that. But what I'm saying is the Knicks are in preparation and in position to run this back and repeat. It's a long road. Let's get it started. Now, I think we'll find out in the next 48 hours probably who that guy would be, unless the Don just wants to wait until he sees Summer League and see what he can get from there. But he's going to get something cheap. He's going to get something that fits. He's going to get something that causes us to keep on flowing. And that's what we're going to do. The Knicks going to keep on flowing. Enjoy your Tuesday, and let's see what happens. Shalom.